Why does keeping a home clean always feel like a never-ending job? We wipe the counters, scrub the bathroom, vacuum the floors, and then do it all again a few days later. But what if the problem isn't how you clean? What if it's how your home is designed? That's a question many Japanese homes quietly answer every single day. As we move through the kitchen, bathroom, laundry area, and entryway, you'll notice one simple philosophy repeated again and again. It doesn't just make a home look organized, it prevents dirt, moisture, and clutter from building up in the first place. By the end of this tour, you may discover that the easiest way to clean less isn't buying better tools. It's changing where everyday things live. Idea 1. The sealed corner cabinet. Nearly every kitchen has one corner that quietly gives up. In a standard L-shaped counter, the cabinet, where 2 rows of counters meet, often becomes dead space. Too deep to reach into, so it turns into a place where lids and rarely used pans quietly pile up. Japanese kitchen fitters usually solve this with a corner unit built around a rotating or pull-out frame. Open the door, and shelves swing forward or slide out on a track, bringing everything in the back within reach, without a single item shifting out of place. Nothing about the front of the cabinet changes. From the outside, it looks like any other door. What's different is what happens the moment you open it. Depth stops being a disadvantage. A corner that used to disappear from use becomes just as functional as the straight sections beside it. It's a small mechanical shift, but it answers a question a lot of home organization videos leave open. What happens to the one space in every kitchen that never seems to fit a normal shelf? Idea 2. The recessed spice panel. A row of spice jars tells its own story about a kitchen. Left out on a counter or lined along a magnetic rack mounted to the wall, they turn into a small display of labels. Useful but never quite invisible, no matter how neatly they're arranged. Many Japanese kitchens instead build a shallow panel directly into the wall beside the stove, no more than a few centimeters deep, just enough to hold a single row of jars standing upright on their own. A hinged door, flush with the surrounding cabinetry and finished in the same material, closes over the whole panel completely. The jars stay within arm's reach of where cooking actually happens, close enough to grab mid-recipe without stepping away from the stove. But the moment the door shuts, there's no visual trace of them left at all. The stovetop reads as one clean surface, the same as the rest of the kitchen around it. This is the same instinct behind hiding rather than displaying. Nearness and visibility don't have to be the same thing. Something can sit exactly where it's needed most and still stay completely out of view the second it isn't. Idea 3. The concealed under-sink rail. Under the kitchen sink is usually where organization quietly falls apart. Bottles of dish soap tip over. A sponge sits in a small puddle at the bottom that never quite dries. A simple fix seen in many Japanese kitchens is a slide-out rail mounted to the inside of the cabinet door itself, holding a spray bottle, a scrub brush, and a small sponge caddy in a fixed upright line. Open the door, and everything moves with it, already standing, already sorted, nothing left to arrange by hand. Close it, and the entire mess disappears along with the door, out of sight in a single motion. Nothing sits loose on the cabinet floor to tip over, collect water, or leave a ring behind. The rail does the one thing surface storage never quite manages. It makes the tools disappear completely between uses, rather than simply keeping them tidy while they're still on constant display. A cabinet people usually avoid opening becomes one of the more organized corners of the kitchen, precisely because nobody has to look at what's stored inside it. Idea 4. The appliance garage. Small appliances have a way of never leaving the counter. A toaster, a rice cooker, sometimes a coffee maker. Nobody wants to dig out of a cupboard every morning. All tend to just stay put. Many Japanese kitchens build what's often translated as an appliance garage, a compact cabinet with a timbre door or a lift-up panel positioned right at counter height, with an outlet already wired in behind it. The appliance stays plugged in, always ready, never needing to be carried out and reconnected before it can be used. It simply rolls upward or lifts out of sight the moment it isn't needed, and rolls back down just as easily. This solves a problem display style organizing never quite addresses. An appliance in daily use still doesn't have to be constantly visible to stay convenient. The counter underneath stays completely clear, not because anything was thrown away or packed into deep storage, but because a single door closed over it. A kitchen can hold exactly as many tools as it did before, and still look at a glance like it's holding almost none of them. Idea 5. The toe kick drawer. Look down at the base of almost any kitchen cabinet, and you'll find a recessed strip a few centimeters tall, just enough room for a foot to tuck under while standing at the counter. In most homes, that strip of space sits completely empty, doing nothing but collecting dust along the floor. In many Japanese kitchen designs, it becomes a shallow drawer instead, built to hold flat items, baking sheets, cutting boards, sometimes a step stool folded down until it's barely thicker than a book. The drawer opens with a light foot tap or a small recessed pull, low enough that it never interferes with anyone standing at the counter cooking. It's easy to miss entirely because there's no visible handle competing for attention on the cabinet face above it. What used to be a few wasted centimeters running the length of an entire kitchen becomes an extra layer of usable storage, hidden in a spot most people have looked past their whole lives without ever really seeing it. Idea 6. The recessed medicine cabinet. In the bathroom, the same instinct shows up around the mirror. Many Japanese bathrooms build the medicine cabinet directly into the wall behind it, recessed flush with the surface, rather than mounting an open shelf beside the sink the way many other homes do. The mirror itself becomes the cabinet door. Toothpaste, skincare, and daily essentials sit just behind it, close enough to reach without turning around or stepping to another part of the room, but never visible unless the cabinet is actually opened by hand. A sink surrounded by open shelving always looks slightly unfinished, no matter how neatly the bottles happen to be lined up that day. A sink with nothing in front of it but a mirror reads as calm, even seconds after it was just used by someone in a hurry. The items haven't gone anywhere, and nothing about the routine has changed. They've only stopped needing to be looked at every time someone walks past. Idea 7. The sorted under-sink bin system. Waste has its own system in many Japanese kitchens, and it answers a question that comes up often around videos like this one. What actually happens to food scraps in a home built around hiding things away? Under many Japanese kitchen sinks sits a set of separate bins mounted on a pull-out frame, one for burnable waste, one for recyclables, and in homes that compost, a smaller sealed container set aside just for food scraps, often lined with a layer of newspaper to help control odor before it's emptied every day or two. Sorting happens once, at the exact moment something is thrown away, rather than in a single overflowing bin that has to be picked through and separated later. The habit isn't really about the bins themselves or how many compartments a cabinet has. It's about deciding in advance exactly where every kind of waste belongs, so nothing sits around for days waiting to be dealt with properly. Idea 8. The closed shoe cabinet. Getabako. Near the entrance of most Japanese homes sits the genkan, a small sunken area just inside the front door where shoes come off before stepping up into the rest of the house. Beside it, rather than a shoe rack left standing in the open for every visitor to see, most homes build a tall, shallow cabinet called a getabako, deep enough to hold shoes standing upright on their toes, with a door that closes completely over all of them at once. Guests arriving see a narrow cabinet and a clean step up into the home, not a row of shoes lined up for inspection by the door. The genkan marks a boundary the moment someone enters, a small pause between outside and in, built into the architecture itself. A closed cabinet keeps that first impression uncluttered before anyone has even removed their coat or said a word. Idea 9. Everything has a home out of sight. Taken together, these 9 systems share one quiet idea running underneath all of them. A home doesn't feel calm because it holds less than it used to, and it doesn't feel calm because everything inside it is on display, proving how organized someone has managed to be. It feels calm because every object, from a single spice jar to a sorted bin under the sink, has exactly one place it belongs. And that place is usually a door, a panel, or a foot tap away from sight rather than sitting out in the open. The corner cabinet, the medicine cabinet behind the mirror, the getabako by the entrance, none of them remove a single thing from the home. They only ask each object to wait quietly, out of view until the moment it's actually needed again. None of these 9 systems will transform a kitchen or a bathroom on their own, but together they add up to something bigger than any single upgrade could manage alone. What's really been covered here isn't just a list of cabinets and drawers. It's a different question underneath all of it. Not how to fit more in, but how to make sure everything already owned has somewhere to disappear to when it isn't needed. Which of these 9 spaces is still sitting open in your own home right now, waiting for a door it doesn't have yet? If this gave you a new way to look at your own space, subscribe for more ideas like this.